Hi, I'm Vahid Jalili. Welcome to my screencast for my Advanced Topics in Computer Music assignment. So basically my patch here is a work on from one of my previous patches, which is all about spatialization effects. So to start off with, audio is inputted through three tracks here, which can be loaded from folders, which, oh, let me stop that. So I can choose any folder of sounds, which is the reason I did this was to create like a surround sound club DJing platform where I would load several elements of one track into essentially one channel and would be able to control and automate them, pan them left, right, and center at the touch of a button. So I already have tracks loaded in there, so I don't need to load any more. So what this will do, if I go into edit mode, within the first track, I've used the analyzer object, which is an advanced pitch and loudness and brightness and noisiness detector. The pitch tracker is actually based on the fiddle object from Miller Puckett, but this actual object is by Tristan Yehan. So it takes it analyzes audio and it takes outputs like the loudness, brightness, and the noisiness. In fact, if I turn this on, actually, let me stop. If I pause this audio and I turn the mic on, you can see that it's going to the microphone input here. So it's got lots of things going on. It's got loudness, decibels, brightness, hertz, and noisiness. I think that's in decibels again. But the only thing I'm taking from this is the brightness, which is in frequency from 0 to 20 hertz. And what I do with this is quite cool. So we have the range coming in from the frequency hertz as you've seen before, and I've split this into 8 sections, which is essentially one section per speaker. So the first frequency range is 20, that's the bottom of the human hearing frequency range, and the limit of the strip is 645 hertz. So any audio which is between this range will get sent to speaker 1. Any audio which is in the range of 646 hertz to 1271 will go to speaker 3, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So if I play this again, what you see in the matrix control here is the audio going crazy all over the place. So with this matrix control, I have left and right for each track, and so this would be channel 1 left and right. Speaker 1 channel left and right, speaker 2 left and right, and so forth, all the way up to 8 speakers. And you can actually see the output going with these level meters. So this is speaker 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's actually this configuration of speakers give me the idea of how to control or how to set up spatial effects, which I'll talk about in a minute. This is first after I want to talk about this matrix control. Before I went in here and divided the speaker range, I have the outputs, as you can see here. This is speaker 1, so you can see from these connections that this is the first frequency group, and this is going to matrix control 001 and 101, which is that essentially. No, sorry, it's that actually. And so this is going on for 3 tracks, but I think the most fun part of the track is where I can actually record. I can choose which channel I want to record, channel 1, 2, or 3, with this selection here, and this goes into funky piece of kit called Groove Duck. It's basically the same as Groove, except it's got a few more features. So what I do when I record into a buffer, for the first few experiments, I've just been recording into buffer 1 and buffer 2, and just I don't even have to record anything actually. I can choose any audio that I want with the replace button. But I've been trying mostly out with recording samples, and this sample then gets passed to over here. Well, I've set up 2 additional effects and one effect which works as the same as this analyzer does and this matrix control does. Just it'll only send speaker information, sound information according to the frequency band, but for effects I've done something a little bit different. So we have the same matrix control here, but what's controlling this matrix control is a little bit different. So we have 8 frequency band widths here. I've changed the bandwidths a little bit because, well, I just wanted to change it up a little bit. So I still get the same, still use the same range, receiving the same range of audio. It just comes from the brightness of audio with the analyzer object, and it gets split. So with the say I get audio in the first, it's like 35 hertz, so it's going to come through here. This bit still needs a little bit more work, but it's going to come through here. And it's going to activate the first matrix control, which will activate the first group. So I've grouped these, as I said before, like this kind of speaker arrangement gave me the idea of how to group it. So this was this would be speaker 1, and this is speaker 5. It's kind of the most opposite and adjacent speaker to it. That's what I would use for this particular group of effects. So you could say that speaker 6 there is opposite to it, but I just, for visual purposes, for listening purposes, I wanted to group it these two. So 1 and 5, 2 and 6, 3 and 7, 4 and 8, and vice versa. So I go back into my first effect. So whenever I get my first frequency signal, it activates the first group, which is, as I said before, 1 and 5. Now what it does, whereas before that certain frequency we just send it to speaker 1, this has a bang relay. So you can see, let me zoom in a little bit. Whenever I get this first one, it activates the reset. Or no, sorry, it doesn't. It does. Oh, it used to. It activates the reset, but it doesn't really matter because either this is the off process, and I just changed the off process to activate the reset of the 1 bang. So you can see 1 bang going here, going through a delay, going through a switch, going to speaker 5, banging straight into speaker 5, and then another delay, the same delay, then going back into speaker 1, and this is a circle, an infinite circle. So in order to break that, I have a switch which gets deactivated every time it's turned off, and this is the same for every group. I turn it on, it activates the switch, it activates the bangs, and yeah, it makes for some cool spatial effects. This matrix is handy. I'll be able to set it up so whenever I get my frequency range, it's going to activate whatever group and turn off the group that was playing before, but I still have a little bit more work to do here on how to reset the 1 bang whenever it switches to bang and bang. Is this still going? Let me just turn that off. For the second effects group, it's pretty much the same thing. The first spatial group, you can see here I've labeled it 1, 2, 1. It should be actually 1, 2, 1, 2. So that gives me a reference that it's sending bangs or some kind of rhythm, as in 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Fairly straightforward. But this one, as you can see, it's called 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. If I put this into presentation mode, it's basically the same as the other one, except there's two extra bangs, or sorry, two extra delays. The first delay is 500. The second delay is also 500. The next two are 50, and then the last one is 500. So that's 4 delays in total, but it's wired to go through 5 times from beginning to end. If I show you it in presentation mode, it gives you a better idea. So this is the first bang, second bang, third, fourth, and fifth. So you can see how that's banging. It goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, then 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. It's just a different type of rhythmical spatialization effect. I'm gonna sample these effects, try them out, and make varying ones. Once I've done the first one, I can do other ones quite quickly. But the first one, it was quite long to do. But it's fun though. It was very fun, but it did take a while. As you can see, there's quite a lot of wiring going on there. I need to maybe neaten that up. But we'll not worry about it for the meantime. So that's pretty much my patch in a nutshell. I've got everything going through presentation mode, everything I pretty much need. Everything visually I need, because it's also good to just watch the matrix control where actually this frequency, the sound of the frequency is actually going to. With Groove Duck is pretty cool. I can let me just load something in actually. I think it's presets on output 1 and 2, so if I just send it to analyzer, you can see it going all around there, which is quite cool to just watch sometimes too as well. Oh yeah, this Groove Duck has varying speed factors. It's crazy. But my favorite thing about it actually is the start and stop of the loop. This effect works really well with drum loops, especially. Actually, the altering of loop starts and stop ends, it creates some really interesting changes in effects and sounds too. Like I've tried loading bass lines, like really long bass lines, and then just looping one section over and over. It gives me a completely new bass line. So it's a beautiful tool, I think. One I'm going to be using a lot more. That's pretty much my track done. Whenever you first open the patch, you need to, for channel 1, you need to select between microphone and audio input to have play, pause, and loop functions for my 3 tracks, master volume control, and the P loading folders for track 1, and just a quick reload button if you want to reload from the start again. And yeah, that's it. Hope you like it. Thank you.